Warmly welcome to the webinar on findings from industry leaders on how we can accelerate low-carbon building, organized by Compi & Pure, Ramboll, Stora Enso and NCC. This webinar is based on a co-development project executed in 2021 to 2022 between these four companies. In this webinar, we will share our findings and emphasize the ever-increasing importance of collaborative working methods in the building sector. My name is Louna Laurila, and I'm working as a business developer at Compi & Pure, and I was also the project manager for this collaboration. Then, shortly about the agenda for today. So we have an hour and a half to deep dive into the topic, but if we don't need the whole time, we're happy to close the event also earlier. I will first briefly introduce the background of the collaboration, after which we will have an interesting panel discussion on the topic why value chain collaboration is a must to accelerate climate action within the building sector. On the second part of the event, we will focus on showcasing technical wood construction solutions created in the collaboration and their climate mitigation benefits. We will first hear a presentation from Sanni Reijonen from Ramboll. She will answer the question, are developed designs leading to emission reductions? And after that, we will have another interesting panel discussion. And lastly, we will hear NCC's, Stora Enso's and Ramboll's recommendations and key takeaways for you. We are very happy to hear your thoughts and questions on the topic, so please be active. In this webinar, we will use Mentimeter to communicate. So the instructions are on the slide now, but you can also find them from the event page below this video screen. So if you miss the code, for example, you can find it on the page. So please go to menti.com and use the code that you can see on the screen now. You can go there either on your mobile or browsers and then just post your thoughts and comment there. Riku from Ramboll will be the moderator of the questions today. We will have time for questions and discussion after both panel discussions, but feel free to post your thoughts and questions already during the presentations and panel discussions, and we will then take the time after the panels to go them through. So as mentioned in the beginning, this webinar is based on a co-development project between NCC, Stora Enso, Ramboll and Compi & Pure. So why did we join forces and what did we achieve? So we know that the global built environment is responsible for almost 40% of global energy-related carbon emissions and 50% of extracted materials. Construction materials make currently the second largest emission category when looking at life cycle emissions of a building. However, choosing low-carbon construction materials and solutions is difficult. Before starting this collaboration, we interviewed many real estate developers and investors to better understand their challenges related to this topic. And the message was clear. There is a lack of clearly presented solutions as well as information on the emission reduction impact of different choices. So that's why we joined our forces, to help property developers and investors make data-based low-carbon construction material choices and take down the industry's emissions. Then shortly about the collaboration partners. So I'm from Compi & Pure, and Compi & Pure is part of the Compi & Group, which is the leading Nordic cross-industry collaboration network. Compi & Pure's mission is to accelerate low-carbon and circular solutions together with our network companies. NCC and Stora Enso are our network companies, but then we decided to also invite Ramboll to the collaboration when we quite soon understood that we really need a design partner also in this value chain-wide collaboration. So being aware of the construction industry's emission reduction potential, but also the fact that no one company can do it alone, we decided to call together the different actors of the construction value chain and then orchestrate this 1-year-long collaboration between these companies. So NCC, a leading Nordic construction and property development company, Stora Enso, one of the largest sustainable forest owners and providers of wood products, and Ramboll, an international engineering, architecture and consultancy company. Then a few words about this value chain-wide collaboration method that we used in our project. So this kind of collaboration between different actors in construction industry is unique. As we can see from the picture on the left, in a traditional construction process, the choices of building materials that affect the emissions most are made very early in the decision-making process by the client. However, a considerable part of the emissions is created in material production and manufacturing phase. And since the decision-making flow and the data on emissions go in different direction in the value chain, the needed emission data for making low-carbon decisions may not be available at the time of decision. And as the construction value chain consists of many different actors, gathering the needed data and analyzing it into actionable outcomes is difficult. But this type of value chain-wide collaboration working method that was used in our co-development project enables a faster and a more transparent information flow between the different parties of the decision-making chain, since they are in direct contact with each other from early on. So only through multi-party collaboration, where data is openly shared, we are able to create well-rounded options efficiently. Then shortly about the collaboration content and the process. So the 1-year-long project consisted of 6 different phases. First, we studied massive wood as a low-carbon building material through real pilot buildings of NCC, so a residential and an office building. And second, we interviewed property developers and investors to better understand their needs and wishes regarding low-carbon materials. And third, we studied what internal capabilities and processes are needed to utilize wood as a part of low-carbon building. Then fourth, we developed in close collaboration new real low-carbon building solutions. And after that, we studied what is the emission reduction potential of these massive wood solutions. And lastly, we focused on how to communicate about the solutions and findings in order to make it easier for property developers and investors to choose low-carbon materials. Our findings from the project can be put in 3 different categories. So first, the actual low-carbon building solutions that were created during the collaboration. Then second, the emission reduction potential of massive wood that was calculated during the collaboration. And then third, the benefits of value chain-wide collaboration. And today we will present and discuss these findings. So let's start with the value chain collaboration topic. So why it is a must in order to accelerate climate action within the building sector. I have here with me Antto Kauhanen from Stora Enso, Markus Suomi from NCC and Laura Kainulainen from Ramboll, but I'll let you introduce yourself better. Yeah, but if we then start with a bit of background. So what is your organization's history in value chain-wide collaboration? And how do you see this collaboration method as a tool for climate action? And Antto, would you like to start?
Well, Stora Enso is a leading provider of renewable materials in several fields, in packaging, in biomaterials, in paper and in wood products used in construction. And we believe that everything made from fossil-based materials today can be replaced and made from a tree tomorrow. We have operations nearly in every continent, and we all in construction industry know how complex the value chain in construction is, how many stakeholders there are typically involved. We've done, of course, collaboration with individual stakeholders as part of the full value chain, but this kind of setup where we are from the beginning joining forces between several companies is a new approach to us as well. And by contributing our expertise to this collaboration, we can help to cut the emissions of the construction sector by using renewable materials in construction. And it is recognized that one of the greatest ways to cut it is to use wood in the built environment.
Thank you, Antto. How about then Markus? What's your history and how do you see this as a method?
Yeah, well, as said, NCC is one of the leading construction companies in the Nordics, and our core is managing the complexity of the construction process. This complexity comes from various aspects like size, schedule, and uniqueness of the projects. But it also comes from the unique value chain that is actually providing and delivering the building. And NCC's role in construction process is to configure the building solution. So put together the architecture, design, purchasing, and the building processes. And I think that NCC has really important and long history with that value chain collaboration. But when discussing about this value chain role, that's the one who is bringing the technical solutions to the projects and also the innovations. And actually, the most of the innovation power is in that value chain, and they are actually the innovative value chain members or partners who are bringing the new innovations to the projects. And it's true also for these low carbon solutions, and therefore it's naturally for the climate actions as well. So I think it's really crucial from the climate action point of view that this value chain collaboration.
Thank you, Markus. How about then Laura from Rumble's point of view?
Yeah. So in Rumble we have long history as well with the value chain members, but I would say that we haven't been working in this way, that we would have different members from different parts of the collaboration with the same target or the same sort of unified way of working. So we have been helping different parties like areas or cities or manufacturers or investors or constructors like NCC before, but then we have been focusing on their operations and not widely with the whole value chain. But I would say that this is a very good way of bringing the different objectives and also possibility to learn from others and this way to really boost the sustainability in the value chain.
Yeah, thank you. So you all had a bit of history in value chain, wide collaboration, but not exactly this deep experiences. So what would you say, what kind of impact was achieved through the collaborative working methods that would not have been possible to achieve by working alone? Markus, would you like to start?
Well, in general, we achieved really good results. They were accurate and they kind of represent the state of the art as they are. They are really convincing because they are set by the amount of 3 global highly experienced companies, and the solutions itself that we develop, they are such that we could be used them in a real construction project as well. So they are truly hands-on, and I think they really are something that help us to bring the low carbon solutions forward in the future.
Thank you. How about then Antto? What do you think?
I think this collaboration brings forward the emission reduction potential of wood as a material in construction. And to us at Stora Enso, I think with these learnings we will have a better view on how our products become real buildings that help our customers, our clients in the end, to mitigate their influence on the emissions of built environment.
Thank you. And how about then Laura?
I think that this contractual agreement that we had together really helped us to have an open dialogue on different issues that we have as a value chain members. And then I would say that it really strengthened the knowledge that we already had in Rumble, that the earlier we choose the different solutions and the different materials to the buildings, the better carbon reductions we will then reach in that particular building. So I would say that a very good results in that way.
Yeah, thank you. So we worked together over 1 year in different sprints that I shortly introduced. So what do you think, what was the most interesting aspect in working this closely together? And Antta, would you like to start?
I think this setup is quite unique in construction industry. Usually the focus of individual companies is within their own ecosystem, within their own partner network or supply chain, what they have typically used in their solutions in earlier projects. So by working together with this kind of collaboration method, I think it will unlock new business potential for every company who has been involved in this. And hopefully it encourages also other companies out there to actually take the learnings from this collaboration and influence the way the built environment is progressing in the future. For us, this was, as said, truly a great opportunity to share our knowledge, what we have gained almost in a global context, and help to accelerate the development of low-carbon building.
How about then Laura, what do you think was the most interesting aspect?
I think that it was interesting for us to see that the market is ready for this kind of collaboration and that there is a lot of knowledge that we should bring together to really reach the targets. So it was interesting to know that there was a common goal really between all the companies to gain something better and new with this kind of collaboration.
Yeah. And how about then Markus?
Well, I think the people that we worked together, we truly had a long journey, and it was like through quite interesting times. And I think, at least for me, it was really a delight to familiarize myself with so many interesting and really highly skilled persons. And we had like millions of good discussions there together, and we shared massive amount of knowledge and understanding inside the project team, but also between the companies as well. So at least my understanding about this value chain collaboration was like multiplied.
Agreed. All right, so we've now heard all the positive aspects of the collaboration, but there must be also some difficult aspects since working this closely for the first time together. So what would you say, what were the most difficult aspects in this type of collaboration, and how did you overcome them? And Laura, would you like to start?
Yeah, I think that it was, there were, as said before, that we had a lot of passion to gain something new, and then along with the project, I think that we had many new things coming up that we would have wanted to review or have a research on, and then it was really, I would say, that difficult to define the boundaries, but that was crucial for the project so that we could keep it in the schedule that we had, and this way I would say that that with a good project leadership, it was possible to really keep the boundaries and then to reach the original target that we had in this collaboration.
Good to hear. How about then Antta, what were the most difficult aspects?
I think whenever trying to create something new, it requires that you let go of something old. And it most likely, I assume it concerns all of us who have been part of this collaboration. And what frustrates me especially is to see how slowly the construction industry is acting in order to mitigate the emissions of the built environment and the way today the buildings are made of. So even though there are already solutions available that can help to achieve a greener future in the built environment. So this is a bit of an issue, of course, in construction field as a whole, but I think in this collaboration, every partner, every one of us was truly open-minded and open to new solutions, open to adjust their own processes, and first of all, working as a, let's say, open book method, so that we are all transparent and ourselves, we are fully available to this collaboration. I think that's the way how we overcome this.
Yeah. And then Markus.
Yeah, well, I don't know, can I really add anything, but I think kind of recap is that I think that's the common goals, that's something you have to have, and also the mutual trust. Maybe it's the mutual, the common goals is something that on which you can build the mutual trust. And if you don't have that, then you are really in troubles in value chain collaboration. But I think we really didn't have any big challenges with this, and if we had, we overcome them and solve them. And of course, this kind of challenges, they can rise anytime, but of course the beginning is the most critical time. But anyway, you have to solve them if you want to do this kind of collaboration. And well, we solved them, and that's the one reason why we are here today.
Exactly. So if we think about all these learnings of this 1 year long collaboration, what would you say, how can we best harness value chain collaboration to accelerate climate action within the building sector in the future? Laura, would you like to start?
I think that this openness and sort of the reaching high with the goals is something that we should aim more at, and I think that there are parties in the value chain that don't normally or regularly in the process, they don't come together and they don't discuss and they don't learn from each other. That I think that there might be a good potential to find new things, how to accelerate the climate actions between different parties, so that bringing together parties that don't normally discuss or work together in the value chain, that might be a good solution to find new things.
Yeah. Thank you. How about then Markus?
Well, I think it's only just simply doing the value chain wide collaboration that helps to improve the flow of the information through the value chain, and also to bring the new innovations to the projects. And with this good flow of information, we can, it's more likely that we end up the best possible results and as low as possible carbon footprint.
Yeah. Anything to add, Antto?
I think how to harness it is to utilize the available data and reliable data that there is already existing today, and use the core competencies and knowledge that the companies have and can bring to this kind of collaboration. And people out there, I would recommend and emphasize that reach out to companies who share the same level of ambition that you might have, and have solutions available already today. And in this collaboration, we have proven that there are solutions that can help to mitigate the climate actions of built environment.
All right. Then lastly, I would like to ask, what do you see the most important cornerstones for green building in the future? And Markus.
Well, I think it starts from quite a basic, so be clear about your targets and goals, share your needs and challenges. Probably in the value chain there is someone who can fulfill or solve them. Share your knowledge, probably in the value chain there is someone who needs that knowledge.
How about then, Laura?
Yeah, I think that what Markus said is good, and adding to that don't try to do everything by yourself. As said, there's a lot of knowledge, so we need to share it and we need to build the buildings together. Use the materials that we already have. Use new innovations. Don't be scared to find them and use them and utilize them. And then really think the buildings as a resource bank for new construction.
All right, and then lastly, Antto.
I think everything that has been said is well said already, but to add something more, I think aim higher with your targets and with your goals that you might consider, and surround yourself, as said, with partners, with companies with whom you can actually turn your sustainability agendas into reality.
Well said. All right, so these were my questions. Now it's a good time to post your questions in the Mentimeter. So if you don't have it open yet, you can find the code. So go to menti.com and you can find the code on the event page below the video screen. So please, if you have any questions to our panelists on the topic, please post them. But while we are still waiting for the questions, I would like to hear, because I think people are curious to hear if this was only a 1 year long collaboration. So will it continue? And if yes, how the collaboration will continue? Antto.
I think we at Stora Enso will take the learnings, obviously, from this collaboration, utilize those in our internal development, in our internal information sharing, and of course look forward to turn these learnings into real projects. I think only so-called academic, there are so many academic researches done in this field, but I think now it's a matter of acting and making it into a reality.
Yeah, I think that we had good connections in this collaboration, and we have already, for example, with NCC, we have had some side projects along with this collaboration, and also a bit after that. So it has been a really good way to sort of have a kick on a collaboration between two companies.
Yeah, as said, we have done already collaboration based on this value chain, like with both of the companies, and I think this was like beginning. We built up the good value chain now, and we can utilize it also for other purposes than just this kind of development work.
All right, I think we got some questions, so please, Riku, if you want to come here and ask them.
Yeah, so hello everybody, also from me, who is tuning in right now. And currently we have two questions, and I guess I'll just ask them, and you can decide for yourselves that who will take the answer. So firstly, can you give a practical example of a way working together that you solved a timber construction problem? Who would like to answer?
I think, if I start, I think what is the most important is to involve the knowledge already in early stage, because the most critical decisions in construction are made before any, let's say, lines are drawn. So kind of the fundamental approach and the decisions that need to be taken place in the very beginning set the whole scenery. So in that sense, I think it is crucial, especially when talking about a new modern material, massive timber. It's utmost important to include the relevant stakeholders in the very beginning.
Yeah, hard to add anything that Antto answered. The selection of the main material is really big decision, and it should be done in really early stage of the project.
Yeah, so let's move on. Oh, we have more questions coming in, so great that we have time for those. So secondly, there's a question, how can policy support value chain collaboration for sustainable timber construction? Who would like to start?
That's a difficult one.
Yeah.
So what, if you think, for example, on Finland, what policies could be improved to help like accelerate timber construction?
Well, I think in general, all the guidance and policies, regulation renewals will set the field, I would say, to more equal to use materials in an equal way. And policies today are, and the regulations are developing in Finland with a good pace. These life cycle assessments are becoming mandatory within some years. Assessment method is now being developed and piloted. So I think this really brings the knowledge already and the awareness already out to the field out there. And companies who are there in the front are even better suited to actually serve the customers in the future.
Yeah. And maybe it's also about that the policymakers should be quite careful when they are setting any requirements or that kind of stuff, because like so that there is like room for like that kind of value, innovation that could be bring in that kind of value chain collaboration, so that not too much restrict the solutions that are available.
Yeah. So we have many more questions. And
We have still 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's just continue with the questions. It's great that the audience is really chiming in. So, nextly, how do you plan to transfer the gained knowledge into practice? Difficult questions.
Go ahead.
Well, I think it's about that we had quite a good starting point, because this solution, I said, they are like something that we could be developed in a real construction project. So it's kind of easy to do that, and that's actually one kind of fundamentals for this development, that they are practical. So we don't need to do that, because that's kind of that value for the development. That if it's too like academic, as you can say.
I think that it's important for us, for example, in the structural engineering, that when we have this kind of project, that we really take the learnings from this and implement them, so that our engineers know what has been done in this kind of collaboration, what results we gained, what are the differences between different buildings, for example, what we were investigating in this collaboration, and why did they come out the way that they did, and what could be the solutions, how to make them, for example, more environmentally friendly from the carbon footprint point of view. So and also the fact that if we really want to build entirely, for example, from wood, that we really have to have the decision early on, so that we get the best of the material, and then that the building has the functions and it works as it's supposed to.
And I really look forward to break the boundaries also from geographical point of view. These learnings and these concepts are not only for, let's say, Finnish market. These are applicable to any Nordic market, and why not even in wider context to European market as a whole. So I really look forward to turn this into real life projects.
Yeah, great. So we have even more questions coming in. So just to let the audience know, I'm gonna pick the questions that are maybe topics that have not been covered yet. So feel free to continue the discussion in the comment section. But maybe we don't have the time to answer every of your excellent questions. But yeah, I think we still have time for a few more. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's just maybe. Yeah, I think this is a great question. How do you value current energy crisis, and how could transformation of construction into timber-based industry help solving this?
Well, of course, energy crisis itself and the energy usage in buildings is in a huge transformation. the way energy is produced today is already based a lot on renewable, but this crisis is unfortunately bringing us a few steps back in several fields in terms of energy production. But I think at the same time it creates a lot of ground for new innovations. Buildings are aiming for higher energy class so that they utilize less energy, they are more energy efficient, they are using renewable energy sources and these kind of aspects. And then timber as a product, as a material, supports very well this approach because it is a renewable material, renewable resource. So we are not spending the valuable resources of this globe.
Yeah, I think that the buildings that has been designed have already been quite energy efficient, but I think that this push will more sort of increase the need for really viewing the different solutions in the early stage, really checking what kind of energy solution is best for the building, what supports best the form of the building, the materials that are used there, the area where it is. And I think that this will also emphasize the need for looking a bit forward, what kind of weather conditions we will have, how that will influence on the energy efficiency of the building. So more analyses of the buildings in early phase to really find the good solutions for the future.
Yeah, I think this is the crisis is kind of triggering the need for gain higher energy efficiency in projects. So I think again you can lift value chain wide collaboration on table, and maybe there's and probably that's the way how we can solve this, and maybe with new innovation to gain higher energy efficiency, which is actually at the moment quite a high already. But if we need to go higher, then that's one solution.
Yeah, and one or two more questions, you can decide.
Two, if we are quick.
Yeah, so there's a question, is it planned or are you considering to expand the collaboration also to suppliers of timber, adhesive, etc.?
Well, I think important and interesting question. I think we are not setting any boundaries who can join or cannot join to this kind of collaboration. As we discussed earlier, the construction value chain is huge. It involves so many stakeholders in several steps of a project. So as many stakeholders there are, I think the end result will achieve better results.
Yeah.
Yeah, wider collaboration you have, wider the solutions are, but I think the common goal is maybe the first thing to think.
Yeah, and one last question, I think. What perspectives do you see for development of open source kind of building systems where timber components could be used with similar unified / standardized approach, like for example precast concrete?
Well, I can answer that. Well, of course, that's something that will help to utilize timber as a material if there is that kind of open source design solutions.
I really emphasize the importance of open source and information sharing in order to influence, as said, to the very beginning of any project, to provide the information as early as possible, provide the solutions, basic solutions for any customer or developer, so that they can even consider that, wow, my building could be actually made from a renewable material, not on the fossil-based materials. So that way the open source information sharing is very valuable.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the very insightful discussion, Antto, Laura and Markus. And next I'll give the stage to Sanni. So please, Sanni.
Okay, hello everyone. Nice to have you all on board today on my behalf as well. My name is Sanni Reijonen. I'm a senior consultant from Rumble, Finland. I was a sustainability expert in this collaboration. And what we did is we did some carbon footprint assessments on these interesting designs that was produced in the collaboration. And today I will be specifically answering you, are developed designs leading to emission reductions? So we can break down the numbers a bit. It was very interesting to get into this collaboration, as we already had the knowledge that timber is a very low carbon material and we will meet some emission reductions. My expectations going into this was that we will be between 15 to 20%. What we did is that we had two cases. We had the office building case and the residential building case. And both of these cases already had like a business as usual concrete concepts. And in the collaboration, we developed wood alternatives to these. In the office building, the concrete concept was very business as usual with a steel concrete column frame and hollow core slabs. And then we compared it against the massive wood slabs, columns and beams framed wood structure. The office was best in class in energy efficiency and was provided with geothermal heating and district heating. Then the residential case, we there as well had a business as usual concrete structure with elemental load-bearing walls. From there was this wood conversion made, where which was like based on the concrete building itself. But also what was done was a wood optimized design where there was more freedom in the layout and planning of the this design. And also in this case it was very energy efficient and had a geothermal heating system. So we were kind of like secured on the operational carbon side. And what we did with these designs, we calculated the carbon footprint with life cycle assessment method. We used a Finnish method from Ministry of Environment. It included all the building elements like load-bearing structures, lightweight structures and building services in the calculations. And LCA methodology covers the before use stage of the building, including the manufacturing of the materials and what happens on the site, and also the use stage with the replacements and the energy consumption was calculated, and finally the end of the life cycle. If you're not that familiar with the LCA methods, they might differ a lot from each other, and when comparing these results to some others, they might not look alike, as our scoping and our assumptions affect a lot in the end results. But then to the results. This is the office case here. You can see that for the concrete building, the total carbon footprint was a little bit over 17 kilograms of CO2 per square meter per year. We had a life cycle of 50 years in this case. And when looking at the wood office building, we got a 15% reduction in the total carbon footprint. But what is also good to notice is that embodied carbon actually makes a significant part of this total carbon footprint. It is the share in the green presented on the chart, and embodied carbon means the carbon related to the materials. And with this wood office solution, the embodied carbon in the before use stage was reduced by 27%, and as this embodied carbon is gaining importance, being like the largest share in the total carbon footprint, these results were really promising. And when we are already quite energy efficient in the building, it's the next step that we have to find solutions to cut the embodied carbon. From the office pilot, if you want to see some details where the actual carbon cuts were made, here's some presented in this chart. The beams and the intermediate floors, so the heavy structural frame, make the biggest effect on the total carbon footprint, and it was also the place where the biggest reductions were gained. Like over half of these certain elements where all the carbon footprint was cut there. All the other elements that you are not seeing in this chart were already also included in the calculations, but they were not changed between the compared alternatives. Then the residential building. The results look a lot alike in the office case, except the total carbon footprint is a little bit smaller. And here the wood conversion, we gained 16% reductions. But what is interesting to see that with the optimized design, we gained even bigger reductions in the carbon footprint. And that's also, of course, positive to see as the whole industry. But timber in general maybe has this one positive feature on it, carbon storage effect. In this optimized design case, in the residential case, we counted that we had a carbon storage effect of minus 3.2084, and this means that the carbon which is captured during the growth of the wood remains in the building until it is energy recovered in the end of the life cycle in the end. And here also the method you use, the method of LCA you use affects maybe the results that you might gain in this. The chart in here presents in blue the calculation we did, and if we would take the biogenic carbon reductions already in the before use stage, we would be quite close to carbon neutrality. Of course, the same effect would then apply in the end of life stage, and we will sum up to the same, but there is this positive effect of carbon storage when we use timber. Last, I would like to show you an example of potential benefits from optimizing the design concept in collaboration. Here in the design group first told me that they were taking these different alternative design approaches, and the process was very iterative when they were doing it. They started from really material efficient frame solution, which didn't maybe work that well with in other features, and they went to the other side of the span length and ended up with a lot more material consuming option. But then in the end, in the collaboration, they landed with the design approach that is presented here in the middle in the chart. And this approach, of course, was quite well, or was doing quite well also in the material efficiency. It also eased out the layout planning and selection of facade for the architects, and it allowed the wood to be an architectural feature in the building. Lastly, what you already saw in the results earlier, we were able to meet a lower carbon footprint than in the conversion design that we did at first. Maybe the panelist next will bring you deeper into these examples, but to summarize what we learned here is that wood itself is an excellent strategy in reducing embodied carbon. We met even 34% reductions in carbon footprint in before use stage. Also, the storing of biogenic carbon is great and helps us in mitigate climate change. But still, we have a way to meet the carbon neutrality, and there are no shortcuts. But although wood is a great strategy in low carbon building, we can do even more by doing it right and selecting the right design approach in this, which we learned in the project. So, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Sanni, for the interesting presentation. So next we will have the second panel discussion. And I have here with me Sebastian Hernandez joining online from Germany, and then live Mia Bungers from NCC and Emil Jansson from Ramboll. And yes, we have Sebastian also online. All right, and you can again introduce yourself better than later, but before going into the actual solutions, I would like to first hear, how do you see this collaboration has helped you in supporting your customers to reach their climate goals? And if we start from you, Emil.
Okay, so Emil Jansson, I'm representing Ramboll, and in this case I was specialized in timber structures and structural design. And in this project, I was the kind of maybe the main source of technical evaluation. So the collaboration trusted on me that I would evaluate the solutions they provide and give them more possibilities to kind of realize the project. And of course, we were given the kind of initial goals and information, and then our task was to track down the whole scene and the difficulties, and then provide the possible solutions.
Yeah. How about then Sebastian?
Hernandez. I'm in charge of the building concepts in Stora Enso, which is precisely to understand how our products can become buildings together, kind of develop conceptual solutions for buildings. So pretty much on the spot on this project. So this collaboration helped us in many aspects. I think many have been discussed in the previous panel, but an important one is that we were able to quantify how much our products can actually help our customers meet their sustainability targets. So we know now from the last presentation, it was presented in a high level exactly how much we can achieve now with current technologies, and it also helped us identify where are areas where we can improve and how much we can improve. So that's very valuable to understand now and explain and visualize how and how much carbon can be saved in construction projects, and for the future to understand better where and how much we can still win, which is quite a lot still to improve.
How about then Mia?
Hi, my name is Mia, and I'm working in NCC as a design manager, especially in office and public buildings side. I have been working in this project as a leader of concept design process from NCC, and I see this project that it has given us like marketing material from the project about low carbon building types, which make easier for our customers to make decisions about their targets of climate goal. So this is very important material for us, some tools when we are working together with our customers. is the main point in here.
Thank you. So I guess the audience is eager to hear what kind of new solutions were developed in the collaboration. And here we also wanted to show one slide, but Sebastian, please, you can start.
First thing, I think it's important to clarify that we're not, in this project, within this collaboration, we're not innovating in new technology. So we're using products and technology that we know for two buildings which kind of represent the business as usual or the bread and butter business. So what we're doing is not innovating in new technologies that has kind of another framework, but we are optimizing together the solutions in terms of, on one hand, the technology and the products that we have available, and on the other hand, the buildings, to kind of negotiate between these two areas to find the optimal solution. In this case, focusing, of course, primarily on carbon reduction. So the idea is then to optimize the technologies in a way that we can apply them today or tomorrow. No? So we're not identifying development areas for the future. That's kind of we're also doing that, but kind of with another horizon. So we are using technologies and the supply chain and the knowledge we have today to offer these products. In the residential building, what you see at the left, it's kind of combining mass timber with a timber frame envelope, and in the office building, we're kind of using a post and beam, or a beam and column system with a full timber structure, and also kind of combining it with other materials in the core. We keep the concrete core because of the height, fire safety, and stability, and using other kind of envelopes at the as external walls. No? So basically combining the mass timber solutions we know with other timber frame or lighter technologies, for both cases.
Thank you, Sebastian. Emil, would you like to add something?
Well, structural wise, we didn't kind of go very far with the radical solutions, but what was kind of new is the way of collaboration, that we tested different solutions, and for example, in the office building, it was more of a task to test out and study how different spans work with the timber. So it was in a structural sense, it was nothing out of ordinary, but then again, the collaboration was something completely new.
And Mia, what do you think is unique in the developed solutions because of the collaboration between the value chain?
I think that the main point in here is that we developed a general wood building type for residential and office buildings for NCC use, which can easily be adapted like step by step to new project as well. So it's like easy to use, like a basement, and develop from that basement new projects when we start to realize them, real projects. It helps our work.
Yeah, good to hear. So, as we already heard, this kind of value chain-wide collaboration is very unique in construction industry. So, how was the development work approached? Could you describe how the process differed from a traditional design process? And Emil, if you start.
Yeah. In the design work, how this collaboration showed is that instead of kind of really focusing on a small subset of a structure, we were able to do kind of system level optimization. So we had all the companions from NCC and from Stora Enso, and we could really kind of see what is the best solution for all of the parties, not only on us or on NCC's parties. This would be, otherwise it would be kind of impossible, because in normal projects you don't have a kind of forum to discuss these things this deeply, or you don't have the possibility to go back in design. So this was kind of a very iterative process. I would describe it kind of taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and then re-evaluate where do we want to go, kind of always selecting the right path. It's important in structural design that it's not usually a set of discrete problems that we can just look at and then solve, and the solution is not one clear solution. So it's a balancing act between goals and solutions, and even the opinions are kind of dynamic in the process. The solutions were evaluated through all parties, which is usually a bit difficult in normal projects, and usually it can go so that we make kind of uninformed compromises, and but in this case we were able to rank and kind of study the options and the solutions. So that was the unique approach in this development.
How about then Mia from NCC's point of view?
I think that we had an open table process, so we shared the knowledge, and what was very important that we were not like connected to real projects, so we were not like stuck to the site at all. A little bit like the same idea as what Emil was having, so it's much easier to develop type solutions. It's more free, the basement for it. We increased our understanding of massive wood constructions, and we at the same time with this like solution developing for residential and office buildings, we developed also NCC processes at the same time. I think it was very important work to do. We did more background work. We went through like our present NCC process flow charts, and we were checking several types of technical details in European level, not only in Finland, what we are doing in Finland. So I think it was also important. We don't concentrate to Finland only. We take a European level. It was also important thing in here. We collected ideas together with designers and producers, with designers and suppliers. I think it was very important. Normally we don't do it in the very beginning, together with a whole group.
No, thank you, Mia. How about then Sebastian?
We did something which is in a way completely different from a typical design project. No? So and I agree with both collaborators who said before, like this idea that we start already with a technology and a set of products and a way of building on one hand, additionally to the design, kind of created this negotiation from the beginning. In a normal project, you kind of first design and then start thinking what materials and what products to use. So knowing from the start which products and with which timber technologies we want to approach this problem helped a lot to kind of enrich this design process, no? This design process of a typological solution, as Mia described, and we also had this opportunity to go back, no? to go a couple of steps forward, then a step backward to optimize this solution again. No? So this at the end helped us achieve, I think, a more optimal solution than you would achieve in a normal design process.
Thank you. So then what were the most important findings from the process and outcomes? And would you like to start, Mia?
Thank you. I think this design process, like it has to be started much earlier together with supplier and designers, and we have to really decide the supplier much earlier for the project, already in pre-design phase. I think already before building permit, it's one very important thing to check in our process timetables. It's a little bit different way how we normally do.
How about then, Sebastian, what were the most important findings from your point of view?
Yeah, I think I'll say two, and one of them is the is that we know how much carbon we can save, you know, and this helps us communicate a more precise idea on the potential savings, and on the other hand, it helps us understand in the future where do we have to develop ourselves further to even improve or reduce the footprint, the carbon footprint of a building even farther.
Yeah, thank you. All right, then lastly, I would also like to ask the same question from you than the other panelists. So what do you see as the most important cornerstones for green building in the future? Mia, please.
Thank you. This is something like from the very far future. I can see the situation in that way that green building in the future will lead us to totally a new way of thinking about buildings and building surroundings. Buildings will be more alive for us in the future. They will be intelligent. We will use intelligent materials also in there. So it will be an intelligent green building. I think this is the main task in there in the future.
That was nicely formulated. How about then Emil?
Well, this is a topic I've given a lot of thought, and then I've tried to kind of condense it into something concrete. And what is clear in our point of view is that you need to invest in design. It's something that's clear. See, if you're setting out for kind of green building or low carbon building, it doesn't happen by accident. You don't just stumble upon great designs and then you just execute them. That you kind of need someone in the process to take the wheel, and then there's designers and collaborators who will help. And that's connected to having clear targets, and then you need some discipline to kind of meter those targets. How are you going to meet them, and did you meet them? And it's quite essential if you want to create change, and we've seen it in the industry that the processes and projects, they will always go towards the path of least resistance. So if something has been easy in the past, well, let's do it again. So if you want to create change, it's somewhat painful, but it doesn't have to be too difficult. Also, you need to acknowledge kind of what do you need to achieve the goals. Probably something needs to change if you're comparing to the kind of processes which we call same old. And then one key thing is also to avoid tunnel vision, that don't do part optimization too early, don't get stuck on details, but always take a step back and look at the bigger picture. So that helps the goals.
Yeah, thank you, Emi. And then lastly, Sebastian.
Yeah, I think that the most important issue is to change the way we plan buildings. So I think it has a lot to do with this design, as Emil said. But I think the most important is the first design phase. So the importance of the decisions you take when the design process is starting is, you know, is at the top level. So in the beginning you can make really right and good decisions or really wrong decisions, and it's very difficult to discriminate or to evaluate at this very early process where you know so little still about how the building will be. So we need firstly a new frameworks and new ways of collaborating. So this is a way to tackle this. You collaborate with everybody who will, or most people who will participate in the value chain. You will end up with a better result in a way. So collaboration at this very early stage, and then again, secondly and thirdly, collaboration and collaboration. So I think that's the way we will end up improving our carbon footprint as an industry in general. You know, working together, most important in the beginning of the project.
Yeah. All right, so those were the panel questions, and next we'll have your audience questions. And I know at least one question came to Sanni, so we could start with that one. So, Riku, please.
Hello again, everybody. So yeah, let's start with question for Sanni, which came during your presentation. I think this was a pretty interesting question. So here it goes. What was energy consumption to produce / transport / assemble the materials and components for concrete versions versus timber versions of those buildings?
What was energy consumption for?
I think the question is that the energy consumption of the producing, the transportation of the assembling of the materials and components versus timber versus concrete. If you can give an example.
Okay, I don't think I can give a specific answer on that in here. That is maybe something to look a little bit more detail. So, not sure.
Yeah, but can you is there a difference? Like, can you?
Energy consumption in.
Yeah.
If it was calculated differently, I think was the question.
No, the energy consumption was kept similar, and also the transportation and the site functions, they were kept similar. It comes from the methodology that we are using in this case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So the actual difference showcases the actual frame and the materials when it comes to carbon footprint.
Yeah, great. And thank you. So there has, at least for now, been no more questions about your presentation. So let's move on to presentation about the last panel. So firstly, thinking about a possible next project together, what would be the key topics to focus on? I think anybody can answer.
Yes.
No, I can answer from my side. I think we have to concentrate to the process, how we lead it through, because it will be a little bit different process to go.
Anything to add?
Have you, Emil, anything to add?
I would kind of I would like to test out with the real project, so that we have maybe an architect outside this collaboration, and test out how the kind of communication starts working in the initial phase.
Yeah. Shall we move on to the next question?
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's one additional question. Timber is definitely a great solution for CO2 reduced projects. How do you see recycled materials as an additional solution?
I can answer also first for that. We have been checking, we already have started to check those kind of subjects in our company, in NCC. Work is going on. We don't have any kind of answers yet, but anyway, we are very interested in checking that kind of possibilities to every project in the future, in the near future for in our projects. So it's very important, and it's like today's question, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was Sebastian about to answer also, maybe?
Yep. I can say about our products that we're working on them, but we on using recycled materials for our products in the long term. But this is for the structural frame of the envelope. So this probably has a bit of a longer range innovation than something we can do now. No. I think in the other parts of the building there might be a lot of possibilities to use more recycled material. For example, in any screed or gravel that we might want for acoustic solutions, in insulations and so on, because it's basically a shorter or a quicker process to get the innovations out there in the market with all necessary certifications. And this is an area where we also need to dig a bit deeper now. So in this project we addressed mainly the structure of the building, but we did not go into optimizing all the rest of the materials. And in the rest of the materials, there are also a lot of emissions, and there's also a lot of optimization work to do, something we'll continue doing, of course.
And maybe I could also add that when we were doing the background study for this collaboration and interviewed the real estate investors and developers, the message was that they would like to get more information about every low carbon building material available. So then the idea was to kind of have a broader collaboration network, including other low carbon materials as well. But we quite soon realized that even wood is such a big topic to handle in this type of collaborations. So we started to, or we focused in the beginning now in wood, but the aim is definitely in the future to also involve other low carbon materials in the collaboration.
Yeah, we have one more question.
Yes.
I think we have time. Yeah, so one more question. How much could construction industry make their own energy bill smaller when using timber instead of concrete and steel? The energy topic is, I think, really hot right now for obvious reasons.
It was a difficult question to answer like right away. Perhaps we can send our answers later for that one. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is not an easy question to answer.
No,
Currently, there are.
It is not, but I think there's something I can say that in general, the increasing the level of prefabrication will make the construction process less energy intensive. So the more you prefabricate in a factory, the less trucks you have to bring it to site, and the less energy you will need on site. So as a very general idea, increasing the level of prefabrication will allow you to optimize the energy and material use in a factory, um, um, to be able to reduce, all energy and materials you'll need on site. So even if we don't have like a clear quantifiable answer in right now, I think that idea is definitely something to look for.
All right, so no more questions.
No more questions. Thank
All
you,
right.
everybody.
Thank you very much for the questions and answers. So lastly, we promised to give you some key takeaways on how you can promote low carbon building already tomorrow. So Mia, would you like to start from NCC's point of view?
Sorry, I missed that part. I didn't take it to hear. So.
No worries.
Okay.
Emil, any key takeaways?
Our takeaways would be that it's quite clear that the low carbon building is now shifting from kind of piloting phase to breakthrough. So it's advancing and it's progressing. And timber design in this case, and in all cases actually, it requires a kind of holistic approach to be successful. So once again, invest in design, so you have all the players you need for the game. Then the one finding is that projects tend to steer towards the path of least resistance. So it's only natural. Everyone wants to kind of progress easily, but challenging the old ways is a leap of trust. So the easiest way to do that leap is to have the best companions to do it with.
Thank you, Emil. How about Sebastian, your takeaways?
Yeah, I think being proactive. No? So this idea that we need to think about our long-term goals and how we want to achieve them before we even go into a real construction project together. I think it's a key. No? So being proactive now, trying to understand like whenever we need to really start working on these projects that we've have already pre-thought and pre-optimized solutions to apply. So this will help then take the right decisions in the beginning, which, as I said, it's probably the key point to achieve low carbon construction. So kind of as I said, be proactive and think on beforehand. How do we want to approach these problems? Of course, working with the whole value chain, but so be prepared in the sense that when we need to apply this, we already have given it a thought and we've developed the technology so that we can solve these problems. No? But in a way, what we're doing in this project.
All right, thank you very much. So, thank you Mia, Sebastian and Emil for the insightful discussions, and thank you audience for your time and interest. Maybe I can still have the last slide on the screen, because if you got interested, we have a project website, lowcarbonbuilding.fi, so please visit there. We also have the full emission calculation reports downloaded there, so you can have a look on them, and also information on the solutions and the contact details if you want to continue the discussions with us. So thank you very much and have a great day.